What's up, everybody? Today we're going to have Melissa Saunders on. She is the wonderful host of a platform called Inspired Mama. So hang on a sec. Let me get her on here. Inspired. Here she will be on here in a second. And as you can see, I have this amazing display behind me. This is my wedding, set up for Mila and I's wedding. It's happening on Sunday in a couple days. So I thought it'd be cool to be out here and have this as the backdrop. Hi, Melissa.
Hi. Oh, that's so beautiful. We're so sad to not be there with you guys. It's going to be
Oh yeah, well,
incredible.
you'll be here with us in spirit. Yeah,
Yes.
it's gonna be super cool. You can see right there, I made this huge custom Lotus of Life right there, and it's gonna be behind us in the ceremony.
Mhm.
It
It's going to
was,
be so beautiful. This is such like a perfect time for this conversation because, the wedding is obviously super exciting and the marriage is so beautiful and like these can be, stressors of life and I think this goes hand in hand with some of the stuff. Like how do
yeah,
we stay, our best selves? How do we stay like in alignment amidst the craziness of what can be our lives and like the simplicity of that? It doesn't have to be as big as I think we make it or as complicated as we make it. So I'm really excited to have this time with you.
yeah, Sam. I'm so glad to be here with you. One second, let me turn on my do not. Okay, yeah, I totally feel you there. Like, there's so many people who have said to us, oh wow, you have a lot going on. It must be stressful, and I'm like that. I could take that approach, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not. It's how you enter into all things. How you do one thing is kind of how you do all things, and it's okay to have busy times where you feel like you have a lot going on, and and the days can be intense. But I don't approach it as a stressful thing. So this, even though it's been an incredible amount of preparation from Mila and her team and everybody else, myself, all of us getting ready for it. It's gonna be like 182 people here,
Oh my
and
God. It's gonna be so
and
nice.
it's out here on her father's ranch where she grew up.
Oh.
It's been in the family since the Republic, apparently. So it's gonna look really special.
Before Texas was
I think even before Texas was a republic. So a lot of things there's been a lot of intention, a lot of preparation, and a lot of investment of time and and whatnot into putting this together. And instead of that being a stressful thing, it's been this super beautiful like alignment. There's been so many people who have contributed, to making this happen. So yeah, like anything else. Also, you run a business. You got calls that start at 8 a.m. and me too. And you can go through the day just being like, oh, I have to do so much. I have so much I have to do. How stressful can this be?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe let's talk about how we can shift that perspective because it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, and what we're talking about right now with what's going on in your guys' life is considered a U stress, right? EU stress. This is healthy stress. This is like blessings
Hmm.
stress. You've got a family, a job, like all great things. To look at it that way. But the reality is physiologically, stress is stress. And so you are making a conscious effort and choice to, like you said, the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. Like you're approaching it from the same lens that I imagine you approach not so fun stress, whatever those kinds of things are, that come up, the things that we don't think about, right? The things that we don't plan for, like the actually super stressful things in our
Hmm.
lives. It's like you are who you are. And I think a big testament of who you are is like the way that you live your life and the tools that you use and the way that you look at your body and how it functions and how you nourish it. Like when we give
Hmm.
our body what it's designed to have, the reality is we're designed to handle stress. We're supposed to have stress. And so it doesn't have to be something that puts us, into a state of like chronic fight or flight, or
Hmm.
for women with hormonal shifts that they're experiencing at this phase in their lives. Like, we are designed to go through these shifts. We're not designed to struggle through them. This is the human experience. We're just putting ourselves in environments that aren't supportive of our
Hmm.
body's natural physiology.
Yeah, and I would add to that that we are, as you say, we're designed to take so much stress, but it's always stress that comes and goes. When we
Mm-hmm.
have uninterrupted, when we have continuous stress, it's actually not something we're designed to deal with. Our biological, we don't have any of that programming. So any sources of constant stress should definitely be like identified and looked at and hopefully addressed. And maybe those are some obvious things like toxicity, toxins in our modern world, which obviously sauna is so amazing for, but also the stress we put ourselves in with how we think and how we respond,
Mm-hmm.
to things is just as powerful, right?
Yeah, I think that's key. I mean, I think we hear this phrase a lot. Like, you can go so many days without food and less days without water. I mean, you can't go minutes, you can't go seconds, really, without a thought. And so to put
Mm,
some of our intention and attention on that, because so much of what we're perceiving as chronic stress is essentially, I mean, maybe this will ruffle some feathers, but in many cases, not all, it's a choice, because a stressful
mm,
event is meant to be experienced, physiologically responded to. We run or we fight or we freeze, right? And then it's gone, but we choose to hang on to it because of our thoughts, not because of the actual environment. So we're creating an environment of chronic stress inside here. And this is what, I mean, I think, for me, like, what I think is so pivotal and important in this aspect of this conversation is like, I think there are times when we can get ourselves into a more regulated state from the inside, right?
mm-hmm,
Like, I can recognize I'm choosing stress in this moment, and I have tools in this moment, in the car with my kids, in traffic, at work with a coworker who's triggering me. I can have tools in this moment to like get me back to a regulated state.
mm-hmm,
That's amazing. And that's a lot of like what I love to talk about, because these are free and we can access them at any time. At the same time, like, there are times when even someone like me who's like teaching that, right, in communities and stuff, like, I need an outside in tool, because whether it's just like too much, or it's, it's, I'm like really pushing my edge of like, can I put myself in these kinds of high stress situations and access calm myself? Like, this is where tools from the outside in that can help regulate our nervous systems for us and help remind our body, this is what regulation feels like. This is
mm-hmm,
what, having a chronic stress event and then going into something like the sauna and like your nervous system relaxing and getting back to like a foundational state, taking dips of that makes it familiar to your body so that you can later find it on your own. And, when I was really sick, something we could get into or not, there was no way that I could do this for myself.
mm-hmm.
Like, I had to have the outside in tools. And my sickness was basically, I don't even want to call it my sickness. The sickness I was experiencing was toxicity and inflammation. Like, those are ubiquitous. And the way that it transpired for me was meningitis and encephalitis. And
Wow.
so that was like an extreme degree, right? But I think if you take a lot of people off the street, like, many people are experiencing a major degree of inflammation, toxicity, hormonal imbalance, and we're calling it normal. It's not normal. It's become typical, but it's not normal. We're not intended to feel or function that way.
Mm-hmm,
And just because we're surrounded by people who also have those same symptoms and are living in a chronic state of stress or inflammation doesn't mean it's normal. It's just
mm-hmm,
making it typical. And so for someone who's like, maybe in a place where like they want their life to feel more calm, regulated, maybe they're sick of feeling like their hormones are taking over their body, or chronic stress or anxiety, waking up with these thoughts, going to sleep with these thoughts. This is where the tools, I feel like, create a bridge between how you
mm-hmm.
currently feel and where you want to be.
Yeah, it's beautifully stated. our systems are our bodies are really intelligent. They have a lot of beautiful design, and they're constantly our cells and our systems are constantly trying to take care of us and take care of themselves, to rebuild themselves, to cleanse themselves, and so forth. And at the same time, we're an open system, so we exist in this environment, in this reality, where we're constantly exchanging energy and communicating with the world around us. And most of us are in the modern world that has a lot of synthetic elements in it, and we take those in, whether it's toxins or attitudes or programming, and it shifts us. So our normal, can slowly, if we're not paying attention, we're not aware of it, we're not taking action and doing lifestyle practices to shift it, it will slowly shift us into a more and more toxic state that we're just like, oh yeah, this is normal. Everybody else is this way, but it's not the human norm. It's not like the species norm. It's maybe it's easier to understand that it's not biologically, it's not what's possible. What's possible is to be like a lot more optimal, and we're optimal when we're clean. But yeah, once we get down, we shift, and even for someone like I would consider myself to be pretty healthy, I am also using external tools, because just as we're open to these synthetic influences, we're also open to natural, beautiful, uplifting, elevating things like light, like natural light. It reminds us, that we're light beings, definitely on like a spiritual level. And it also, I was doing some deep research recently, actually, on photobiomodulation. So, beyond some of the basic physical things that we know it does, like produces energy and reduces inflammation, it what the light is doing is it's really like helping our cells remember how to utilize light, because our cells utilize light, like in the mitochondria, and for communication and for transfer of energy, and so many other things. How we make and utilize energy is like one of the most fundamental pillars of wellness. And so the light, more than just having these physiological effects, it's it's teaching us and helping us like ourselves and like the little parts inside of us, that we have these unlimited systems that are light based. But when
Mm-hmm.
we're in the synthetic world and we're indoors, and our influence is like blue light, and our cells kind of forget how to utilize light. So it's just a recent insight that I had.
I love it. Yeah. I've got I mean, Jason, my husband, like right beyond the phone here, working nerding out on his computer, and he's like nodding because he loves, he's just got his PhD in molecular bio, right? And he loves like the cell and the mitochondria and the light. I feel like once a week he walks in the house and he's like, "You'll never believe it." Like he just listened to some totally nerded out science lecture, and he's like making these deep connections like you are with the light and our physiology and all these things, and I'm like, that's great. Also, it just freaking feels really, really good. Like I love having that information because it affirms what I feel in my body. I'm someone who like definitely appreciates the science for sure. And whenever I'm incorporating a tool, I'm like, let me not hear the science, let me feel it, because I trust my body so well, and like, let me see if this creates a shift or change. Then I want to know the science that's going to confirm what I feel to be true. Right. And so it's kind of this neat pairing. And I imagine I could see you and Mila maybe even being a little bit that way, like just
A lot
very
that way.
tapped in, intuitive, and like a feeler too. Um, so it's just, it makes for really interesting conversation, like you can look
Mhm.
at it either way. And I think, maybe some listeners appreciate that. Like there is some strong heady science behind this, and we are light beings, and it's helping us remember, and it's creating that buffer to these crazy environments that we're putting ourselves in. That's the reality of our life, right? Like, what are we going to do? This is kind of where we're at. We live on our digital, and it's how a lot of us feed our families.
Mhm.
So like, what can you do to support that, that's realistic and not just like, oh my gosh, another thing I'm doing wrong? To your point, it's like tools like this help your cells remember. They help your cells get back to the environment that they need and crave. And it's also like just beautifully passive, which I think sometimes in life, like we all just want a little bit of that. Like support me, carry me, just take me home.
Don't make me do anything.
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I've got my
Yeah.
heating up, so I'm like, I've got half an hour in between this and my next meeting, and like to just have a little calm down, a little microdose, I call it, in my day of, instead of pushing till the end of the day and then let me feed myself. Like so many of us now working from home, like microdosing is everywhere. It's usually microdosing plants. Like I like microdosing connection and
Hmm.
regulation. Like how can I microdose play in 10 minutes between my Zooms? Or how can I microdose? You've got these great tools that fit in people's homes. This is my front door. We no longer have a front entrance in our
I
house. I don't
know.
care. I
So
always
awesome.
wanna.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and like when we get on this path of wellness and we get healthy, it reminds me of something like I feel like Benazzati would say, being metabolically flexible. Um, the having our entire system be very flexible, like our nervous system. The human nervous system is supposed to go like this, you know, go to the sympathetic, go into fight or flight, drop right back down, and go in and out. And so we can, throughout the day, when we're finely tuned and our autonomic nervous system is calm and we're not carrying like all this chronic stress and so forth, we can work, we can work for half an hour, we can work for an hour, and then we should be able to very quickly shift, go sit in a sauna, go take a walk, go have a conversation with your loved one, and then shift to the next thing. But when we're toxic, when we're strung out and stressed out, it's like it gets slow. And so you get in front of the computer and you start working, in the morning, and all of a sudden it's like hours later, right? And you got a lot accomplished, I guess, but the body doesn't want that, doesn't want that all the time. I love the concept of microdosing, just going through the day and being really pliable and changing things, not doing anything for like a really, really long time, especially, sitting still, working at the computer, even if we do maybe have many, many hours that we need to do some work on the computer, but being able to take those breaks it's so important. And the more your body is flexible, the more you realize both how beneficial it is and how easy it is to go back, after that dose that you got of whatever light
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, I think, at least for me, like 5 years ago, that was one of the biggest things that like I didn't understand about, you know, being a healthy woman. Like
Mm,
I had this vision or this mantra of like how I take care of myself. I'm not sure if this is as loud in the male space, but for us women, you're constantly told like put your oxygen mask on first before serving others because we're all natural caretakers. And I
mm-hmm,
get that. I heard it all the time. I think I even probably said it to a lot of my patients in the practice. Um, but like the
mm-hmm,
version of the oxygen mask that I was aware of was the kind of thing that you have to wait until the end of the day to get to. Or it's the kind of thing you have to schedule, like a 1 hour massage is like, okay, I'm finally going to like shut off everything and take care of myself for this hour.
mm-hmm,
And it didn't fit in and it wasn't realistic in my life. And so every day when I had those little whispers of like, I'm tired, I need something for me, I'm taking care of everyone, like I just became an expert at shutting them up because I didn't feel that
mm,
I had a tool that was accessible. I had 3 kids running a busy practice, 30 employees, and it's part of how I got sick, right? Like I let my bucket overflow. And so that last drop for me of a tick bite just threw me over the edge. And if it
mm,
wasn't a tick, it was going to be something else. And I didn't realize, and like I've spent the last decade researching now the science and the neurology behind it. And the truth is like when we're doing these microdoses throughout our day, not only does it feel good, but it impacts our literal neurology. Like we are running in a state of what's called beta. It's our go 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 brainwave. It's meant for like 9 to 5 with mini water breaks in between. Beta is like our
mm,
marathoner, sure go getter. But like even the best marathoner needs water breaks. And so to take these microdoses and give ourselves a brain break in what's called alpha or theta is really, really powerful in translating the way that we feel at the end of the day. It's like you get to the end of the day and like,
Mhm.
I got it all done and it was really easy and I feel really good. And the reality is that, you know, as you're practicing that, it's a practice because it feels unfamiliar because
Mhm.
we're so used to filling every minute with productivity. We don't know how to, I didn't at least, I didn't know how to recognize, you know, these small clips of like 2 minutes, 5 minutes here or there and actually feed myself in them. And there's neuroscience behind that too. So like I think having this information is really powerful because what usually happens is someone will say, I don't have time to take care of myself. But if you really start to look at your day with a microscope or a magnifying glass, what you'll notice is you've got probably pockets of 2 or 5 minutes. You're just in them, like subconsciously grabbing your phone or grabbing your email because
Yeah,
that's
yeah, no, totally,
familiar.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do like if we have 2 or 5 minutes? It's not that long a time.
Yeah, well, it's you literally start training your nervous system because your nervous system will crave what's familiar. And so if you're used to grabbing your phone or your computer, it feels safe and you're going to like hardwire into that because your body perceives that as survival. And so as you're microdosing, you know, tools, play, like I get on my bike, recognizing that this is a practice and this is a muscle that you're flexing. And so if you're lucky enough to have some fun tools in your house and you work at home, great, use them because they're going to help you do it in half the time. Getting outside, getting in nature, daydreaming, like you said, connecting with a loved one, just putting your phone down. Pretty much, if the biggest action step you take is like choosing to not grab a phone or your email in these moments, whatever you do is going to be forming that new choice
Mhm.
in your life, in your day. I like to picture like a path. And you're literally rewiring your brain and your nervous system that calm and connection feels safe. And the coolest part, Brian, as you know, that that's going to translate to is that's going to become your new norm. And so,
Mhm.
like the way that you and Mila live, you know, I know you're getting a lot done. You're getting it all done, but you're also finding and creating these pockets of space for yourself throughout your day where you have connection and regulation and space. And so you're looking at someone who owns a very successful company with a growing, beautiful family at your wedding venue, maybe some house changes
Yeah, yeah.
in like a very calm and regulated state. And that's not by accident. And that's not just who Brian is. Like, I think that's a part of who Brian is, but like, that's a formula. And we all have a nervous
Mhm.
system that we can train to live that way. And it's a beautiful thing. It's not as hard as we make it. And it's accessible to everyone because it's in a lot of ways it's free.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Thank you for all of that. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It is. It is. I was. I used to be a stressor, a rescuer stressor, grinding through work. I'd use those types of that type of language too. Let's drive it. Let's grind through it. Let's kill it. And I like what you said though because I feel like when I look back, I'm like, oh, it's just a perspective shift. Like all I need to do is just like look at everything differently from a much calmer perspective and realize, oh yeah, this is much better for me to just go outside, put my feet on the ground than popping on the phone or whatever. And just going to sleep on time instead of watching a movie late. It makes me, like there's no the it's easy to say that, but like you said, the nervous system is used to what it's used to. So initially, it is uncomfortable. It feels strange. It doesn't feel easy in the beginning.
Mhm.
It's like, wow, wouldn't it, if like watching a movie feels really easy. I just lay there and like get the, enjoy this entertainment. But as you choose, and choosing, as you said, is the most important step, the nervous system shifts sometimes slowly, sometimes faster to where then I'm like, I have no desire to watch a movie late. In fact, whenever I go to a very infrequently, if I go to a movie at the theater, I always go in the middle of the day now. Like, wear my glasses or whatever, but it's always in the middle of the day. Like, I totally avoid. I remember when I was little, like going to movies that were like at 11 o'clock at night, or
Mm-hmm.
10 o'clock at night, just super late movies. And it has no appeal at all anymore, but it's a muscle that's built, and it's my nervous system, yeah, that I've definitely reprogrammed. So it's some things have gone quickly, some things have taken a lot of time to unwind, different programs and perspectives, even though, as you say, I will echo actually what you said in the beginning. Everything is, in fact, a choice. It's our level of awareness that kind of determines how we look at it. Like, and maybe we're saying, I have to do this, it's something there is nothing actually you have to do. You always have a choice. There's something that is in alignment with your highest and best expression of yourself that, we tend to say like, oh, I have to do that because that's going to be what's good for me. And then you're like almost like working against yourself. It seems like really counterintuitive when instead the language is also, for me, the language is really important. The casting of spells and being very careful. More recently, like, yeah, even just saying, yeah, I have to go to the store to get some groceries. I'm working really hard right now to not say those types of things. Just, I get to go to the store. It's gonna be so
Yeah,
fun. I get to buy what I want to eat and want to have, and
I
it's such a
had,
big shift,
yeah.
and then there's always something new that I'm like, why am I even saying it that way? That seems so heavy.
There's also, I think it's also important to touch on like the human experience and the reality. And this is why I love the word practice, because it's funny you did the grocery one. This morning, I usually start my morning with like, what do I get to do? And that usually means like, what can I fit in that's fun or playful or magical? It just becomes my lens for the day. And you find these ways to answer that question, right?
Hmm.
And so, like, my answer for myself was I'm just going to see magic in everything. Like, I have a really full
Mm.
day and back to back, and we have travel tomorrow, and just kind of like a very logistical day. How am I going to make it all work? And I'm like, I'm going to make the day more magical. Well, the school drop off took over an hour because traffic, and then I had the grocery run. I despise getting groceries. It's like my least favorite thing to do. Or like I enjoy it if it's at a certain point of the day, but not my morning. Like my morning is like creative and flow and play and moving my body. And so I was like super annoyed. And I'm like witnessing this process of this is a choice. Like I'm choosing to hate this grocery run right now. And I think it's important, at least for me with where I'm at currently in this, to like that's okay too.
Hmm.
Like I had this intention, and I'm also just not going to have my head in the clouds. Like I am not in the mood to be at the grocery store right now. I'm not in the mood to get home and like unload these things. I've got so many things piling up. This is not how I like to start my day. But I do think at least taking the moment this morning to like set my intention, I at least was like aware of what was going on and conscious. It sounds so silly and subtle, but like probably had I not done that, I would have been a lot more bitey. I would have been a lot more edgy. Like the people that were getting in front of me with their cart and going so slow, like I would have freaked out. And so I'm sure it took the edge off a little bit. And then I actually was able to find space where I could fit in like a 2-minute bike ride. But I say all, that like made my heart so happy. But I say all that to say, like, at least for me, as long as I've done this work, there are still the days or the moments where like I choose the old path.
Hmm.
And I think that's part of reality, or like the old path is somewhat chosen for me if my day is a little bit out of my hands. Kid stuff, meetings come up, got to pick up the kid from school, wasn't part of the plan, they're not feeling well.
Hmm.
But like what is super powerful is that your normal default, your homeostasis, becomes a very regulated, aligned state. And so, even if or when you get pulled out, you're always going to come right back to this beautiful place. You're going to remember this is how I used to live and it doesn't feel good. And so, I don't choose that anymore. And this is why the practices I've put in place are super important. So, thank you for falling out of line today. Thank you for this visceral reminder that this is not what I choose 9 times out of 10. It's practice. And the worst thing that we can do, I think, especially as women, is fall short and guilt and shame ourselves and then decide to never try again. It's like we're just failing forward. This is just practice. Have self compassion. It's okay. And try again tomorrow or in an hour, right? There's always a chance to
Hmm.
reset and do it again. And in doing so, I would venture that you're actually laying down a stronger pathway. It's like we learn more from our mistakes than from getting it right the first time.
Yeah, that's beautiful the way you describe that, having that sense of self-awareness. And yeah, having grace with yourself. Sometimes the things are out of your hands, and then there's a reason why you were delayed, and it takes you longer to get home, but then someone calls you and you're available for a call that you weren't otherwise, or
Yeah.
there's always a reason for everything. So yeah, that's such a beautiful part of it too. Like we're reprogramming, we're creating new practices to be more mindful and intentional, and we're on a polarity, and we dance in between it. But slowly, yeah, we can shift anything really that we want, and then I find, like, when I things like that come up and I say something, in the old way of doing things, the old way of looking at reality, for me it just becomes funny. It's like, wow, it's so hilarious how serious, I took this certain thing and how I was responding, how, whatever, and clueless I was or whatever. And so yeah, it's not something where I move into judgment, like, oh, I'm not perfect. I did that thing I don't like to do anymore. It's
Yeah, you have a
having grace with
very
yourself.
you have a very light, no pun intended, approach. Like you're not mad at your old way that you showed up. Like you come from very much a beautiful place of compassion and forgiveness. And I think, you know, some people maybe aren't starting out there. And so to remind them that that's a really important part of the progress is forgiveness and compassion, and over time getting to like where Brian's saying, you're aware and you're realizing everything happens for a reason, and this took longer and I'm stuck in the car and now I see why. I think it's such a beautiful shift and journey. And yeah.
Yeah, and so bringing it back to the mothers, let's talk about that a little bit. So um and it's kind of on the mind as I get married and we begin to start a newer, bigger family. Like, the state of motherhood in the U.S. is really crazy. They have so much. There, there's so much they're expected to do and be, and uh, I'm fathers have their own challenges for sure, but mothers, it seems like they're expected to, like, now just work and provide and have these badass careers and also be these super moms and also take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And, like, it seems like there's only enough time to do maybe one of those things each day. Like, how do they even do it? And like, what can we do to support them?
Hmm. So what comes to mind for you? I think you're very tapped in. I mean, you've got a beautiful growing family and a beautiful soon to be wife with a beautiful baby in her belly. I think it is a lot, and it also becomes a choice. Like nobody is really asking or expecting all those things of us, or at least if we don't expect that of ourselves, we're not going to hear those people who are. You
Mm.
know, like it I think it comes down to like getting clear on what's important to us, and we're juggling a lot of balls. And like I heard this, someone shared this recently online. Can you go in there? It's like hard to like just don't drop the glass ones. And sometimes it has to come down to that. Like there is a lot that we're carrying, and so to me it's like core values. So if I can't do it all, what's most important to me? It's connection and it's my family. And so
Hmm.
in any business I'm in any team, like I will fall short if it means my kids need me to pick them up from school. And if I sat there and I was like, well, I'm supposed to be this bustling career woman and this amazing mom, and I'm supposed to do it all. Like, who is that woman that's out there doing it all? I don't know of her, but I think we all aspire to be her. And so I think this is where, I always encourage every woman to just get more tapped into their voice and to get rid of the outside noise and distraction, whether that's like in society or whether that's in you know, what we were talking about with like physiology, like clearing
Mhm.
out detox, uh, clearing out toxins and inflammation. And maybe that sounds silly, but it goes hand in hand, because the more clear you are in your head and mind and body, the easier it is going to be to tap into like your voice and what's important to you. And then nothing else
Mhm.
matters as much. I mean, there's a reason there's thousands of parenting books. Like, what am I supposed to do? And who am I supposed to be? And blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a very vulnerable population. The reality is there's a beautiful thing that happens in our brain as we become mothers. And we lose certain neural connections and we gain others. And the ones that we gain literally allow us to read the mind of our baby. We are
Mhm.
responsible for keeping a human alive for the first year without language to communicate. And so we are highly intuitive, especially within that first year of our baby's life. Yet every company out there is marketing and trying to remind us that we're not, that it's their product that we need and their book that we need. It's us that we need. Like, we have survived for eons because of that inner wisdom. And so having
Mhm.
the ability to be like, there's a lot going on in this moment. What is the most important to me? And listening and taking action, because every time we do, it's like an affirmation that we trust it, and it gets louder and louder and louder. And I think especially for new mamas, that is like the most important message that they need to be hearing again and again and again, because there's nothing outside that they need. I mean, our body is literally designed to sustain life
Mhm.
and to keep our babies close, you know, like we have it all. And I mean, I'm so excited to watch Mila through this journey. And you know,
Yeah,
got an
it's gonna be
incredible
beautiful.
village of like really tuned
Mhm.
in women. And I think that's where like the tribe that we hear about is so crucial and important. It's to gather around a woman who just had a baby, because it is a complete, you know, it's a journey. It's a complete like opening of everything. And to support her in like softness and strength and reminding her of her wisdom is so important. And I know you'll do that with her.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and she's doing it for herself, and she's done a lot up until this point to empower herself in that regard. And yeah, using the sauna and the detox has been a huge component of it. There's like all these tools out there, and so it gets confusing, well, what is actually good for me, since there's so much technology and so many options and so many people shouting to you, this is your solution, especially as you said, with parents, this vulnerable population of parents. And for me, it's like anything that helps you better see and understand yourself. And so, yeah, like you said, when we detox, we clear out incoherence and blocks of different things in our bodies and in our minds that prevent us from seeing ourselves truly, or create illusions where we don't clearly see our true selves. Because the closer we get to that, the more clear our inner voice is, and our divine side. And that is like that intuition that you're talking about, where you really know our bodies. It's not just our bodies and our five senses. We have extrasensory perception as well. And those are the things that the less obvious senses that modern life and toxicity has kind of like blocked or shut down in a certain way, whether it's like our pineal gland, or that mother's intuition, and she has it. We all have this, where you can feel someone walking into a room, and yeah, when you have children, totally, like, you can tell. They don't have to say anything. You can tell, like, whoa, immediately there's a mood here that I'm identifying, and like it needs to be addressed. So what I love about our products is that I feel like on a on sort of a more a higher level, on more of a mental, spiritual level, emotional level, maybe. They help you see
yeah.
yourself as you truly are, and then the more we can do that, when we step into that, we really do become superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
We know what our body needs to be fueled with food wise. We know when we need to take a rest. We know in any moment, better and better anyway, what is the best course of action to promote the outcome we want, instead of being like foggy and unclear and I don't know, and maybe I should call my mom and ask her. Like, we have this intuition that's super powerful, but it definitely practicing the development of it and making the body really pure so that the we have that clarity and that inner sense that's not disrupted, and also it makes us more resilient too when we get further and farther along in that path. When there's something kind of like toxic or incoherent in our environment, we immediately like, whoa,
Yeah,
like, and we're protecting ourselves.
definitely. Yeah, you feel it. And I think this is too where, getting intentional about your time with the tools is super powerful. So, like, whether it's a red light or sauna or walking in nature, it's
Hmm.
putting the phone down, and like that's such a beautiful time to be able to listen to that inner wisdom, because it is going to be more apparent there. You're regulating your nervous system. I know I keep saying that term, but that literally is one of the best, most efficient ways to quiet the outside noise.
Hmm.
So sitting in your sauna, I mean, you can't even really have your phone in there anyway. This thing gets so amazingly hot so fast. I've tried it. It's like 5 minutes at last. But using that time to really be with yourself and like start to hear that inner chatter, and even have like call and response. Like, I talk to myself a lot. I think a lot of us always have, but like, what if you really started using it? Like, I hear a lot of women, at least in our office, a lot of the women that were working there were in their 50s, and they're like, I'm going to put the thing down, and then I'm going to go over here, and then I'm like step by step walking through so they remember stuff. Well, what if you started talking to yourself in a really unique, effective way? Gosh, that meeting was really, really hard. Like, I really didn't like what just happened. Well, what was it about that was hard? Well, I guess it like kind of sounds a little bit like you're crazy, but at the same time, like, you're getting the answers that you need. And that's what we do when we do like phone a friend. Like, the best therapists are just expert listeners.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
one getting the
Hmm.
answers. They're just creating the space.
Hmm.
And then tools that can help you get to a place where you can quiet some of the inflammation, toxicity, cortisol, hormonal shifts. Like, you've got a straight line portal to that wisdom. And it's just a practice. Keep listening, gets louder and more powerful. And yeah, again, just like the passive nature of it sometimes is so nice.
Yeah, the inner dialogue. That's so awesome. I think some people would call you crazy if you were talking to yourself all the time, and we're definitely conditioned to think that. But
Or like, you hear it, you see the sauna closed, and you just hear,
yeah,
my
like
kids do
who is
this. They're like,
that?
who's
What?
mom
Who is
talking
she
to?
talking? Oh, she's talking to herself again. But yeah, we our nervous system, our brains are incredibly complex and able to do this, to have an inner dialectic where, and it's a very healthy thing, like you say. The best listener is just someone helping you bounce ideas off
Mhm.
yourself, and
Yeah.
and yeah, and like just being able to, as we continue in this action, being like really good listeners of ourselves, um, in the example that you mentioned, and also in when we think of something and then we have a feeling, you know, what is that feeling? And is that feeling due to, some attachment to something that happened in the past? Because the feeling is a physiological manifestation of some thought, some memory,
Mhm.
or something like that. And being able to pay attention to that, I found anyway, and I think many other people have found as well, like you can actually work on yourself. You can
Mhm.
change. The brain is really malleable. You can change your memory of the past, not just like come to terms, maybe with something that was really annoying or frustrating that happened, but actually you can change your memory. You can take a memory um, and change what happened to make it more appealing, or something with which you're more at peace, and your brain will actually incorporate that and understand that as like, oh, that's what actually happened. And you can do all this like everything. There's nothing that's fixed. Everything is changeable in our bodies, and same thing with the detox. And and getting lots of grounding and focusing on really good nourishment, we can shift really everything. There's nothing that we're stuck with.
Yeah. I mean, our bodies are so cool. And like just to give like a tangible example of how that works to anyone listening, if they're kind of like not completely understanding that, think about if you were to think about eating a lemon,
Hmm.
right? Or like something really sour and like get really visual with it. Like your mouth will start to salivate. And so it shows you the
Hmm.
power of our thoughts in creating a physiological response. And you know, kind of piggybacking off what you said, Brian, like I think for a lot of people, I was definitely one of these. It's like I didn't want to hear everything I was saying because I was kind of afraid. And I don't even have like a ton of big T trauma. I've got some. I think we've all got some. But I was like, I don't want to go there. Like I've bottled it up and it's good and like let's not go there. But what I realized was like just sitting with it and just creating an awareness. I didn't necessarily need to fix it. I think there's some incredible people out there to support us if we do need that. But like just giving our thoughts space and being with
Mm.
them is one of the most powerful things that we can do. And a really powerful place to start is like simply tune into what you're saying to yourself when you first wake up in the morning. I have a lot of women do this in my community and they're like, I didn't even realize that. Like when you just, before your eyes are even open, like listen to what your head is actually saying.
Mm.
And it
Mm.
might be things like, oh my God, this day, or resentment from yesterday, or frustration for what's to come, or, you know, we basically are like searching for stress in our day subconsciously through the questions that we ask ourselves in the morning. And
Mm.
so you have the ability to flip that script. You have the ability to, one, I think, like understand where that's coming from, and that happens through like sitting with it, journaling 2 minutes in the morning, just like tapped into theta brainwaves. And then that's also where like I decided to take control of my life in a way that like worked for me and insert some questions I want the answers to. How can I find magic today?
Hmm.
How can I have fun today? What is it that I need today? How can I nourish my family in the best way that works for me? You know, like whatever question you ask, you are going to find the answer to subconsciously or consciously. That's how a gratitude practice works. You look for what you're grateful for, you're going to find it, and you're going to find more of it. And so let's do this with the questions that we're asking ourselves, and let's start first thing in the morning. So pay attention, listen, sit with it, and then start to create the questions that you actually want to answer. And this is how you change your life in the micro moments with no extra money, with very
Hmm.
little extra time. You're just spending time with your thoughts that are going around anyway. And it's like pretty freaking cool. It's really
Yeah,
fun what can be on the other side of that.
I love that. In fact, that's amazing. That's like the best advice I've heard in a while. It's the most interesting, like practical tool I think of what we talked about today, because the your brain and your body and your mind is so open right when you wake up. It's like, and
Theta.
you're
Yeah.
gonna set the tone for the whole day that way.
Yeah. That's where I mean you program your subconscious, and so it's also a time to be really intentional with the content you're consuming. And how many of us, first thing go on our phone. And like
Hmm.
whatever you're inputting in, it's like telling your brain this is the world and this is my environment. And so just like thinking about the lemon can make you salivate, whatever you're watching is changing your physiology. And so I tell like the busy moms, the women with full lives, everyone I feel like has a very full life. Like it doesn't take long. I literally aim for 2 minutes every morning. I sometimes end up doing 5. Often I do half an hour. It's my favorite time of the day. I'm so protective of it, so I go to bed early. Pretty much every day you'll see it on my stories. I've got the red light. I've got my daughter. I've got a book. Like she does it too. It's become so important for all of our family. And how cool, I think, like at the end of the day, when I look back at like how we raised our children, I know that this practice will be one of the proudest mama moments, because I think this is one of the most powerful ways that we live our lives in alignment and with intention.
Wow, so beautiful. I'm definitely doing that tomorrow morning. The first thing. Yeah, that's like, yeah. And so, Ellie asked, like, please save this live. Yeah, totally. This we're gonna post this, and it'll be collaboratively posted as well. So you'll definitely be able to listen to it again next time. So yeah, it's that's so beautiful, and it's just 5 minutes. I'm trying to think, like, I feel like my morning routine is usually pretty dialed in, but with travel lately, we've been bouncing around a lot and getting ready for the wedding. It's been a little bit definitely erratic, and I'm realizing now that I haven't been doing much of that intentionally since I started traveling. Where normally at home, yeah, I have my morning very quiet time, and then like my workout in the sauna that I do like very intentionally, but just to take 5 minutes
Mhm.
with yourself right when you wake up, and to knowing that the mind will naturally seek what it's being asked or what you're asking. Just ask these leading questions of things that I want, things that I'm interested in, curious about, and letting that be like the super easy way to like totally set the tone and the mood for the rest of the day, no matter what comes up. It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's super grounding. It's basically, I call it like an internal audit. You're auditing your insides before the day starts, and you're magically in the subconscious state when you wake up. And the one
Hmm.
thing, like the most important action step to stay in it, is to control your light, right? And so this is where, I mean, I looking back, like I started this practice when I got the glow light, and it kind of just naturally happened
Mm,
because before that I was waking up and going right on emails. And this
yeah.
is the place where I think, a tool, a crutch, a bridge, like that, and not to sound like super promoty or salesy, but like that, incorporating the glow light like 100% changed the trajectory of my life, because it took our morning
Whoa.
from like what I was calling a power hour. Like no wonder I was sick. I was like waking up and hitting it from the second I woke up, to I remember renaming my morning, and I'm like, we're going to now create the morning lounge. And all I
Mm,
did was I had the light on, the glow light, and it was in our family room, and everyone just like woke up slowly, and it completely changed the energy of our space.
mhm.
And then after a little while of that, I was like, well, this feels good. Like I'm now not staring at my phone first thing. I'm actually hearing, and I kind of like reverse engineered this process that now I look back years later. I'm like, wow, that was the formula,
Wow, so beautiful.
Yeah. So the light is crucial. And
Mm,
you can start small, you can go big. Like there's ways. I talk about it a lot, but the light is the most important, one of the most important things, because the second you put on the household lighting, you get hijacked out of theta and you go right into beta, which is gonna, it's like do, right? So you miss
mhm.
that really
Yeah.
beautiful conscious state.
Wow, I'm so grateful that we had a part in that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to explain really quick, the sauna space light is called the FireLight, and it's literally like a bonfire. So it's a spectrum that's full spectrum like the sun, but it doesn't have any blue or ultraviolet light. So it doesn't you can be exposed to it at any time of the day, and it won't disrupt your circadian rhythm, your sleep cycle. But it's also very different looking and feeling from LED lights. So your household lighting is mostly all LED and fluorescent, and this in contrast is that's why we call it the glow. It's the light of nature is incandescent. That means things that glow. So things that heat up, hot, and glow, they emit this natural broad form of light that has all these wavelengths in it, and this power distribution that's supernatural, and it's both very calming and very calling. So it's it's the most, in terms of, in my opinion, man-made. It's the best type of light to, again, remind your cells and remind your body that it has its own light-based systems, and it has so much it can work with, and that's very particularly the nervous system.
Yeah.
Like the nervous system wants this light, and I think you've totally validated that in terms of, hey, using using the glow, using the firelight in the morning, you're able to keep yourself in that real relaxed, sort of tapped into the subconscious brain state, where you're not getting up and getting crazy into beta mode, and then you can engage in all this stuff that you've said that's like very advanced, the subconscious stuff, or just have this calm, slow beginning to the day, and maybe you're just reading a book or something that is really, it's really powerful, and it's like immediately disrupted if you have a bunch of LED blue light, like you go to the bathroom or you look at your phone.
Yeah. And again, just like kind of last thing, because I'm sure we got to wrap here, but just to full circle it, you know, you can look at all the science behind it, and the science is really
Mhm.
powerful. Or you can just zoom out and keep it super simple and like really obvious when we look at it this way. Like, don't you think whoever designed us like knew what they were doing, whatever you believe, whoever created the humans as humans are. And then now we're like living in this environment where it's not the environment that we were designed to live in. And so no wonder it's like we're running around like freaking crazed, and it's causing dis-ease. It's disease, it's dis-ease. And so if all you do is you create a more natural environment as creator, God, nature intended, which is what the firelight does in the morning.
Mhm.
Like, it's not even that the power is in the light, but the power is replicating the environment that we don't kind of have access to anymore. You
Mhm.
put that on your coffee table, and like you're now putting your body in the environment it was designed to be in. And so, because your body is designed to thrive, and because your body was designed to have regulated nervous system states so it can heal, because that's the only place it
Mhm.
happens, like you don't even have to work for it passively. That is just what's going to happen.
Mhm.
And like, again, can we just make it more easy on ourselves? And can we stop thinking we have to do more to feel better? It's about doing less. It's about letting go. It's about slowing down and coming home. And
Mhm.
all you got to do is create the right environment, and like that light sitting on your coffee table. If you have kids in the house, I promise you, like everyone is just going to be like, zoop.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
totally.
just we crave what feels good, and kids
Yeah.
and pets know it. They don't second guess it. And so like our kids would have sleepovers and movie nights, and like everyone is gathered around that thing like a moth to a flame. It feels good.
Mhm. Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Amazing. Yeah, well, yeah, we should wrap now. We've been here for an hour, but wow, it was an amazing conversation. It definitely took a different turn than I thought it was, but such good, powerful, practical information. I love your story, how inspiring it is. Inspired mama, of course. And yeah, just the what you said about the glow being kind of the start of this sort of new practice that you developed. It's really beautiful. I've That's what I do. Like and more and more of our customers are, understanding like at home I've got the hearth in the living room and the glow at the bedside, and after dark I really try to not turn any overhead lighting on as much as possible. It's and it becomes this beautiful lifestyle where yeah, everything is like glowy all the time and relaxed
Mm-hmm.
uh and so wonderful. So yeah, it starts easily, and even like you say, like just setting the intention really early in the morning, and if you don't have any of these products, just when you wake up, getting sunlight for first thing, and it will definitely change your day, and it's so easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I've loved this. I do have to go get the kids from school. But
Yep.
yeah,
And I
have a
think we have
beautiful
some
weekend, you
grocery
guys.
shopping to do, and I'm super excited about it.
Make it fun.
I will. And
I feel
thank you
like
for
it's
your
like
wishes.
grab a fun snack, put on, I don't know, like I always go to Aerosmith. I'm like, what fun music can I listen to? I love Aerosmith. I love Steven Tyler. So like put on fun music. I mean, you'll be with your buddy Mila anyway, but there
Hmm.
are ways.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
Godspeed.
Say hi to Jason for me. Thank you so
I will,
much. We love you guys.
guys. All right,
Appreciate
talk
you.
to you soon. Okay,
Bye.
thanks.